Hey everybody, it's Mirialda here, and I'm super excited. Today is the day. The goddess, she has descended. She is here. She is in this box. So I've been waiting for her ever since I pre-ordered her back in February. And heck, I've been waiting for her even before she was available or any pictures were made of her. So this is from the company called Wing. It's from the anime/game Hyperdimension Neptunia. It is the Purple Heart figure by Wing, and she's going to be amazing. I'm guaranteeing it now, even without opening the box. So, in case you don't know, Hyperdimension Neptunia was a PlayStation game. I don't know which PlayStation, but it's a strange take on the whole game console wars. Neptune, which is Purple Heart, is the goddess/CPU of the country called Plan Neptune. There's three other goddesses, three other countries, which are Louis, Laystation, and Leanbox. Each one of them represents a different gaming console: the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Wii. Neptune represented Sega's Neptune console, which doesn't necessarily exist. But so you've got the four goddesses, the four CPUs, and their normal form is like a young girl, and then they transform into these beautiful busty women, and with their whole processor units and everything. And the game was kind of slammed as being, over hyper-sexualized young girls and stuff. But I love the character design, so we don't care. It's going to be awesome. I don't know if you can tell, but I am super excited. There was an anime made of in 2013, I believe it was. And I watched that and loved it. And then towards the end of December, I was watching on YouTube a Let's Play of Hyperdimension Neptunia V for Victory, and that just got me hooked on it more, and I wanted a figure then. So I looked online, and I found the one by QuestQ, which at the time it was the only one, and in my opinion, it's god-awful. Milo, leave that alone. But so I was really disappointed. I considered buying it because it was the only Neptune Purple Heart figure, but it was just got so many bad reviews and it looked horrible to me. And then one day I just happened to be on Sankaku Complex, and they had an article on a new Neptune figure, a new Purple Heart figure by Wing. And I clicked on the link, and it took you to JList, and it said $225 or more, and I'm like, I love it, but that's so expensive. So I posted, man, my wallet, it won't let me do this, and people told me, well, look around and look at places in Japan that sell it for yen, and I found quite a few different places. I wound up getting her from Big in Japan. She was the cheapest place that was the cheapest place that had her, and yeah, I pre-ordered her in February, paid in full back then, full shipping and everything. She was supposed to have been released in June of 2014. Well, June came and went, and she, of course, got delayed. It is now July 16th. She was released last Friday, and she shipped Monday at like midnight my time. And I just got her today. It was kind of an ordeal getting her because since she was shipped by EMS, once it got to the U.S., it was through the U.S. Post Office. And so I was looking at the tracking, and then it said, hey, it's going to be delivered tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And then it said, hey, it's available at the post office to be picked up. I'm like, what? It didn't say it was being delivered or anything. It's still saying it's in transit, but it's available at the post office. Well, I wound up leaving work early for this. Luckily, my boss let me go. So I came home. I looked in the mailbox, looked on the door. There were no slips saying it was trying to be delivered. So I was like, okay, this has to be a mistake. I went to the post office, and they said, they looked in this one room, and they said, no, it's not here. Try coming back tomorrow. So I went home and actually opened my door this time, and the delivery attempt slip fell on the floor. So at this time, I had like 10 minutes to get back to the post office. It was horrible traffic. I got there like 2 minutes before they closed. And I gave him the slip. And the guy looked at it and he says, well, you see this slip? It says come back tomorrow. And I'm like, no. You see that box back there in that other room? Can you go look at that for me, please? And well, you know, there she is. So that's my story. Story time's over. Let's get this box open. I've seen pictures of it, and I'm probably going to take a break in the middle of this after I actually get the figure out of the box so that I can take pictures. Because when I counted, there's like 26 different pieces for her. So there's the inside of the packing box. Got good paper packing, and then the box is actually wrapped in bubble wrap. And there it is. I'm so excited. So excited. So I expected the box to be wider this way, but I guess it's not. But I don't care. It's going to be awesome. And they have done a very good job packing with the bubble wrap and the tape and everything. And then tissue paper inside of that even. Okay, there she is. There's Purple Heart by Wing from Anime Hyperdimension Neptunia. She is a 1/7 scale PVC figure. She is my most expensive figure that I've bought, especially when you factor in the $36 for shipping. But so there's the front of the box where we can see her in a whole bunch of pieces. There's the right side of the box, which has a picture of the figure. There's the back showing some of the different ways you can display her. You can display her normally or with her full processor unit. And then what I really like is on the other side, you've got a picture of the actual picture that the figure was based off of, so you can compare. And then there's the top and the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the box, and then I'm going to take the blister packaging out and give a little quick impression, and then I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to take pictures of her as she is. It looks like like I said, there's 26 pieces. It looks like she's going to be complicated. There's lots of ball joints, so I'm not going to want to take her apart again. So that's what I'm planning on having happen. There's also rumors that she doesn't have instructions. Whoa. Okay. Just put her like that. There's a couple different layers of the blister packaging. And then the inside of the box, not very exciting, but inside of boxes never are. Okay, so there are the two different layers with lots and lots of little pieces. So like I said, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So I'm just counting 26 pieces. I'm looking at her base. Man, that is a huge base. She's going to take up most of a detail shelf just by herself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to take the pictures of her as she is and get familiar with it. And then I'll be back and we'll get her put together. Okay, everybody, we're back. I got all my pictures taken that I wanted to take of her not wearing her full processor unit. As you can see, I've already kept the base out because it's kind of a pain to get out. But so there's the main blister packaging. It comes in two pieces, the bottom half and the top half, so everything inside is held securely. The base is actually normally behind Neptune. And then here is the part with most of the accessories, like the wings and part of her stand. Okay. So actually, the first thing I'm going to open is the second one with the parts of her stand, so I can get the stand together. And it's a pain to get apart, but it's good for protection when they're in the packaging, being shipped, across the world. Okay, so this is the second main part of her base. It slides into this slot right here, and that's what actually holds her up, and it holds all of her pieces and everything, so it's a very important piece. It's a pretty tight fit. I didn't actually slide it all the way in because I wanted to get it apart before, but so yeah, I don't think it's ever going to come out again. And then the second main piece of the base is this piece right here. This is what does the whole crotch levitation thing. I was very worried that there would be pegs on here, which would mean she would have holes drilled on her crotch, which, I mean, crotch levitation is weird enough, but if you have the holes there, that makes it even weirder. When I did have her in the stand, she is kind of tippy, so it's not necessarily the best stand, but it does hold her well. And as long as you don't shake her around, she shouldn't fall out of it. And it's got a slot here for this part, and that slides in. And it's got a hole here, and I think that is for the stand for her, or the support for her sword. So that's the main part of the base assembled right now. Move on and get her out of the base, or out of the packaging, so we can see what she looks like on the base. So there she is. When she was packaged, she had bubble wrap around her feet, and around her hands she had some very sticky plastic. It almost felt like glue. And then she just slides on, and there she is doing the whole crotch levitation thing. And you can see she likes to lean forward. And if you wanted to, you could display her just like this and she'd still be an amazing figure. But what's special is Wing, they went the extra mile. They made like all the extra pieces for her processor unit. She's got wings, she's got the parts that go around her waist, she's got the parts that go on her shoulders, she's got shoe parts. They went all out. She comes, I should say, her head does come off, and she has like 2 hair pieces here and 1 more in the package. The one she comes by default, she is for like the no processor unit, so there aren't holes in the head top part of the hair. One thing I don't like is if you wanted to just display her like this, she does have a hole drilled in each of her twin tails, and that's for mounting the shoulder parts. And I would have preferred if they had the whole twin tail part be removable in a separate piece, but I mean, it's in the back, you're probably not going to see it very often, and come on, you're going to display her with the whole processor unit. She's got a very shapely behind, and it's definitely digging into her butt crack, so it can't be very comfortable. So, which piece should we put on her first? Well, since I'm going to display her with the processor unit, we're going to have to put on her other hair piece, which has the holes drilled into the top for it. So to do this, I found it's probably best to take her off the stand. You take her head off. Yes, I just decapitated Neptune, who yeah. So you could have her headless. Not very nice that way. So yeah, you can see her head. She's got extension which plugs into the body, so you can't turn it around, and hey, the hair just fell off. So this is the front piece of the hair. There's only one piece of it. It's the same for both the hairstyles. And there's what she looks like without the front of her head. And then the second piece comes off the back. As you can see, this one doesn't have the holes drilled into the top, so it's for when you don't want to show her with the processor unit up there. That's what the back of her head looks like without hair. Yeah, not very attractive. So we're going to go ahead and put this piece on her now. It fits a little bit tighter, I guess, since it wasn't pre-shipped with it on there and didn't get shaken around. So that should be good. It should hold her hair on better so it doesn't fall off like that. One thing I will say, I noticed that I'm not the biggest fan of also. I just got an email or something. The color is kind of washed out on the braids. It's whiter than it is purple, but I'm not going to complain. And then you go ahead and put her head back on. Try not to poke her eye out with her hand. Doesn't look much different, but she does have the holes for the processor unit up there. Milo, we're gonna keep you off to the side today if we can. There's too much stuff for him to get his nose into. Okay, so next, in the anime, they didn't really give her the full processor unit. They just gave her her wings, so we'll go ahead and put those on next. So this is the little base for the wings. It's got 2 screws, so they're held on by nuts, so you can angle it around a little bit if you want. it twists around. I may do this later just to get the posing better. So there's the left wing. It's got like a purple clear wing part here. And it's got written on it Purple Heart, which is her name in this form. Neptune, which is her actual name when she's not in the goddess form. And Violet. She's never called Violet. The other goddesses are Noir, Blanc, and Vert. So they're French colors: purple, black, white, and green. So I guess that's why they just stuck Violet on there. She's the only goddess that isn't called by a color normally. There's the view of the wing from the front and the back. And this is the part right here that mounts into the stand. There's holes on the top. And then you can turn it around however you want to make the display look best. And I think, yeah, you can twist these around a little bit too. I won't go too crazy with it. There we go. So this actually will mount into this hole right here on the back of the stand. Okay, I'm going to take the wings off of it to do that. And I'm going to take her off just for safety. So it's a pretty tight fit. Yeah, it's going to take some fine tuning once I get everything on to make it look the best. And there's what Neptune looks like with her wings on. She's already getting bigger and bigger. Next, we'll go ahead and put her shoulder pads on. These are the pieces that go into the twin tails that I wasn't very thrilled that they just permanently drilled the holes in. But that's technically the back. They're held in by little ball joints. So let's go ahead and try to get those on her. So trying to remember how they're supposed to look when they're on her. It looks like they go like this. So I'm trying to do this and still have it in frame, but I can't really see the camera that way. Oh dear. Yeah, they're not something you want to mess with very often, because I think I'm already starting to break them. I'm gonna try this a little bit closer to me so that I can see. I'm actually gonna try taking her head off and see if that helps. You can see I'm already having problems with that one. It's turning white. going to actually pause. Okay, so I think I figured out the best way to do this was I actually took the plastic rod out of the piece and just put that into the hole, and eventually it snapped in. It's a very, very tight fit, and like I said, I was afraid I was going to break it. That's why I wanted to pause and concentrate a little bit more. And then you can just slide this onto the plastic rod. Before I do that, I also took her hair apart again so that I could put the little antenna onto the hair piece. These actually went on a lot easier. They weren't as tight, so that was at least a better thing to do. So if you get this figure and you're trying to put her together, that's what I would suggest. Take her head off, take the plastic rods out of the shoulder pads, and then just have to apply a lot of force, which I was afraid to do. I don't want to break her. She cost a lot of money. Plus, it's Neptune. I've wanted this figure for so long. And then you can just slide the shoulder pads back onto the plastic rod, and then you can put her head back on. Have the box next to me for references, and then since they're ball joints, you can move them around a little bit and position them how you want them, how they look the best. She's already taller than the camera shows it there, so I have to push her back farther. Okay. So the next piece we're going to put on, since we've had so much trouble with that, let's worry about her feet next, since they have some similar things. So there's actually 4 pieces which you can attach to her feet. You've got shoes, or at least the front parts of shoes. And then you've got little, I don't know what you would call them, wings, thrusters or something. These have a little plastic rod, again, with a little ball joint which go into her heels. There's no instructions, so you have to figure out which shoe is supposed to go on which foot. I think they're basically the same. So let's see if we can get those on her. Well, first, I'm going to take her head off again. I'm so afraid of breaking things. The first things I'm going to put on are the little wings or boosters or whatever, because they've got that ball joint, and I'm afraid it's going to be super tight again. So they go with this purple part facing up, so kind of like this. Oops, I just popped it out of her foot. Yeah, that appears to be the best way to do this. And as you may be able to tell, I'm putting a lot of force just trying to get this into her heel. I'm gonna go ahead and pause again so I can concentrate. Okay, so I managed to get the little thrusters, boosters, whatever they are, mounted onto her foot. What I wound up having to do was I took the plastic piece off, the thruster again, and I wound up having to soak her foot for like 10-15 seconds in a glass of very hot water, because I just could not shove that little ball joint up into the hole in her foot. So that's a tip. If you get her and you want to display her with her full processor unit, have hot water on hand. It it'll expand the plastic just enough that you can put the piece in, and it shouldn't damage the figure. Then you've got her shoe pieces, which I haven't bothered with yet, but I think they just slide onto her foot. I think. I could be wrong. Let's see if I can see any indications or not. You'd think that it would slide on without a problem, but so far nothing has been without a problem on this figure. This is why I wanted to take the pictures of her without the processor unit on before, because I'm never going to disassemble her again. Oh, there we go. There we go. You kind of have to angle it on her foot, and it just broke apart. Maybe that's how it's supposed to do. You're supposed to take it apart and then put it together. Because, yeah, I think that's the trick. The bottom comes off. And then you can wrap it around her foot. Yeah, that's the trick. The bottom comes off. That is something I wish Wing would have done, was actually give you instructions on how to do this. So I'm just figuring this out as I go. She's a new figure, so just released. So there's no videos or only a couple of reviews. Normally I know exactly how they're supposed to go together. Okay. So she's getting bulkier and bulkier. The next piece we'll put on is her sword, which is a giant sword. And pretty thin too. So right here you can see there's two like pegs here. They line up with holes in her hand, which is behind her head. Before I put this on though, there is also a support which will be put into the base, and then it'll help hold the sword up, I hope. So once again, we'll take her off for safety. This goes into go like that or like that. Anyways, it goes into this hole on the side. I think it goes like that. And then we can go ahead and put her back on. And then we can try to get the sword into her hand. Boy, that's gonna be... I think this is another instance where we need to take her head off. It's just so tight. Everything just has to fit just right. I may have to do the hot water trick for her fingers. Okay, got it in her hand. And it looks like this little support isn't really going to be doing much. So I'm pretty sure it goes on like that. And it's supposed to go into the hole. Well, anyway, needless to say, it's held on pretty tight, so I don't think you really need it. But it's probably for the best that you have it on there, so her hand never warps or deforms. Maybe when we put her head back on, it'll push it back enough. That the support will actually be useful. It looks like that's what's happening. Her head's pushing the sword back enough for the support. Okay. We're almost done. This piece the main package just has her spare hair piece. So now we've got all of the waist pieces. Just going to get them out nice and easy like that. So there's 2 rings which go around her waist. The ends on them are different, so you can only plug them into the base one way. And then they've got 6 of these pieces. On the back they've got a ball joint hole for these, which I've learned to be afraid of. So I'm going to see which way these are supposed to fit into the base so that I only have to put them on once. So I think it goes, yeah, there's that one, there's that one. So they go basically like this. So let's see if we can get these to fit on without having to soak them in water. Okay, that fit on a lot better. That fit on. And that one fit on. So since they are ball joints, at least you can fiddle with them and rearrange them until they look right. So there's the one for the right side. I'll take them off to put her back on probably. We'll do this side now. I definitely recommend never having to switch her up. Once you get the pieces mounted in the ball joints, I'm fairly certain that's going to be the end of it. Everything is such a tight fit. Oh crap. Let's get that back on. Yeah, once you get everything together, never touch her again. Okay, so yeah, so to put her back on, you want to take these off first, I think. Get her on, get the sword mounted on the support, then sneak in, get those in there. This is a very complicated figure. I'm having so many issues putting her together, but there she is. I mean, very, very lovely figure. I love her. I am so excited. She's finally together. I'm sure if I wasn't recording this, I would have had much easier times putting her together. But it's hard when you're trying to, reach forward so it's in front of the camera. But Neptune, I love her. I'm so happy I got her. I'm so happy she's finally here. Yeah, just remember, she didn't come with instructions, so it's not hard to figure out how everything goes together. But there are some tips and tricks that I just found out and I've tried to relay to you, such as, have a glass of hot water so you can soak the pieces, let them expand so that you can actually get the ball joints together. Otherwise, you may break something. They are very tight fits, very difficult. You have to use a lot of force, so just be warned, but she's worth it. So she's also very giant. So what I'm going to do now is I recently bought some Detolf cases from IKEA just so that I have somewhere to store these figures. So we're going to go ahead and just put her in one, just so you can see a reference of just how huge she is. So yeah, she basically takes up almost the whole shelf just to herself. You can see I'll throw up a couple other ones just for references. So this is Charlotte. These are both 1/7 scale. So yeah, they're about the same scale, it looks like. And then we'll throw up a Jubei. Those three, it barely fits, but Jubei is a 1/8 scale. So just to give you an idea of the size differences and how much space she's going to take up in your cabinets. Going to definitely need to rearrange and get everything organized just right. But I am so happy. I'm glad she's here finally. I've been waiting for months. When she was delayed last month, oh man, that was horrible. Plus, because of her, my collection has expanded. I only had the Ami down there on the bottom shelf and the Jubei. Those I got back in 2010. And since then, I never thought I would buy another figure until I saw a Purple Heart. And I ordered her, and then I just couldn't stop. So I expanded my collection so much. Bought the Detolfs. It's all her fault, but she's worth it. Anyways, this was Mirialida with a Purple Heart unboxing. As I was taking the pictures and everything, I don't see any paint flaws at all, which would be so easy to do. There's so many straight lines. I'm back. I ran out of recording space. But yeah, as I was saying, there's so many straight lines and thin straight lines and indents. Nothing is out of place. I do have the little complaint about her hair being whiter than normal, but I can live with that. She's definitely worth it. You should invest and get her, especially if you're a fan of Neptunia. I know Alter's making a figure of the Blackheart, but she doesn't have all the processor unit stuff on it, so Neptune is definitely worth it. Anyways, I'm going to clean up. I'm going to enjoy her and reorganize everything. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can take some of the tips I've given you and just enjoy. I'm out. Have a good day. Bye-bye.